All right. Yay. Meant for more. We are starting. All right, so I'm just starting early on the live stream just to make sure that all is working. If you are here listening live, let me know if you hop on. You know that you were meant for more. And this weekend is going to be all about how to take that calling on your heart and really create something that is lasting and also can provide for yourself and your family, because we all need provision, and that you can feel confident in. So we're going to be talking about different trainings. We're going to be talking about different solutions. I'm going to be introducing you to people that can help you if you get in a legal bind, or like our next speaker, our first speaker, or somebody that can train you in money and marketing, somebody that can train you in holistic coaching, somebody that can train you in getting results if you are a physical practitioner with NERI, neural emotional reflex integration. We're going to be talking about being a multifaceted, interested person. And there's so many things that say, oh, you can't work that way. Well, we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about using your voice and speaking. We're going to be talking about the quantum realm and manifestation and what that has to do, and you stepping into your biggest vision and mindset. So I hope that you are excited for this event, as excited as I am. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going in and out of this event. So I'm going to put it in different segments so you can watch each interview separately. So I'll be coming in and out of YouTube. And right now, I'm just going to make sure that YouTube is working, because we have to make sure that it's working before everybody comes on. I hope that you're having a great day. If you are joining us live, please let me know your where you're joining us from. I'd love to know that. Yay! Looks like I'm working. It looks like it's working. See how the sound is. I'd love to know that. Yay! Okay. So beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Kristen should be joining us quite soon. I'm hoping that everything is going to go okay on the screen so you can see her great. I know that I also sent out the stuff to watch through here on Zoom. And then we have a chat. Dr. Anna's joining us, so welcome. She'll be talking to us tomorrow. Thank you. From Salt Lake City. So perfect. See if I can get my phone to stop binging. I don't want that happening all day long. Sometimes I know how to do it, and sometimes I just don't. Do you guys ever have that issue? All right, let's see. I am seeing the live chat here on the talk. I'm going to be sharing this into Facebook. See how that goes. All right, all right. So Kristen should just be here in a minute. I was just getting technical stuff done. We're going to start right at 9 a.m. here in Alaska. It's about my earliest. I realize for those of you on the East Coast, it is about, let's see, it's 1 o'clock there, so it's the middle of the afternoon. When I'm in the East Coast, I think it'll be easier to do some of these things on everybody's timeline. So I am super excited. We see some people joining and saying hello on YouTube. So hello, YouTube. So great to be here. Just shared on Facebook. So great to have you there. Super excited. please give me your info on the chat. I would love, love, love that. And if you're joining us on Zoom, welcome. I'm excited. So today, if you haven't met me personally, let me just introduce myself a little bit. I'm putting together this Zoom this summit because I spent years. In 2006 was the first time that I actually launched a training program. And a lot of people don't know this about me because I spent a lot of my time as I was going and teaching these training programs, going through these training programs, going to school myself, getting my Ph.D., studying different methodologies to heal trauma, to integrate the soul, to understand the mind, to understand the body, to understand the person. And along the way, I created Your Own University. And Your Own University has turned into a platform where we literally help people understand themselves and help other people. So we train coaches, we train yoga instructors, we have trainings for NERI, neural emotional reflex integration, and this is a training to help reset your endocrine system and gravity reflex system for chiropractors and coaches and therapists, as far as body therapists, right? So massage therapists and physical therapists, because it's a hands-on practice. And we certify you to do that, which includes EFT, emotional freedom technique, which includes hypnosis, which includes yoga, which includes somatic practices, and everything is trauma-informed because my background is in trauma. My heart calling was to reach out and say, yes, I want to do something so people don't suffer like I did. I want to be more so people don't struggle like I struggled. I want to help people that are struggling with compassion and care and understanding rather than you need to fix this and ridicule and demoralizing and you're broken and you'll be broken forever, and rather than a pill. And I wanted to find things that worked. And over the course of the 20 years that I did this, I took many classes and many courses and just studied everything. And some things worked for me personally, and some things didn't work for me personally. And some of the things that I did that didn't work for me personally have gone on to really be like the key for some of my clients over the years. And so this summit is really to share with you Your Own University, share with you the coaches and teachers that we promote at Your Own University, that do some of our master classes at Your Own University, and share with you some people that I've found over the years, I've worked with, I've hired, I've watched grow their businesses to 6-7 figures, and that I respect, come together so you can go, this is the piece that I need, right? If you need a marketing piece, if you need a healing piece, if you need a quantum piece, if you need a training piece, if you need a certification piece, if you're looking for an answer, you're going to be able to find it here. That is my intention with this summit. So I'm super, super excited for Kristen come on. She just joined. I'm going to let her in and just open up this platform for you to begin. All day today until about 4 o'clock my time, we are going to have incredible speakers lined up for you every hour on the hour. You can come and listen. These replays are going to be up for the public for the next 72 hours, and then they will come down, and if you have the VIP, not only do you get all of the replays, you'll get to watch and learn and listen and connect with the people again. You'll get all the links in the back office as well. You'll also get invited to really reignite this calling within you, to step into it. So we're going to be activating your power bodies. We're going to be activating your awarenesses. We're going to be activating yourself and entering into relationship, as well as entering into an awareness of who you desire to be in your purpose. We're going to activate all of that over 3 days, April 5th, 6th, and 7th in Rediscovering Me. Obviously, I didn't get my dinger to stop dinging, but hopefully it will. All right. All right. So I'm going to admit everybody. The screen will have everybody on, and then I'll get Kristen on in just a second. I am so excited for this event. Hey, Tarek. So Tarek's going to talk later. We're going to take you off mute, but everybody's coming on. I guess that's Facebook, or that's this thing. But we're going to go. I'm going to take everybody else off of screen besides Kristen here. If I can get it. There. You all did it yourself. You're amazing. So Kristen, welcome. Go ahead and take yourself off mute if you would. We are live on YouTube, so I have that up. I think we're flowing and going. Oh, I still have. No, it says that my mom's a speaker.
Does it say that I'm on?
It does now. I see you.
I see you. Yay. Okay.
Yay, fantastic. Okay, so we're going to kick this off. I just gave a little intro to everybody. We are going to kick this off in such a big way, you guys. I'm so excited to introduce this beautiful woman here beside me, Miss Kristen West.
Christine. Yeah.
Christine, I don't know why I keep doing that, but I've done it for years.
It's all right.
It's been something I've done for years. In my head, I've only known her 10 years, you guys. In my head, I can't do it. But I'm super excited that you're going to kick this off. And why is because I think that a lot of people don't start listening to their dreams, don't start following their heart because they're scared that they won't be able to handle what comes, the emotion, the legal stuff, the awareness when stuff comes up, when maybe they have a client that's not happy, or they have that bump in the road, or they have emotions that come up, right? So Christine is amazing at helping entrepreneurs that are really passionate about helping people, and people also going through legal matters. I'll let you explain that more, but legal matters, changing with emotional intelligence. So she works with people with emotional intelligence, human behavior, and psychology. And what she does is she provides you with strategic advantages to level up your playing field, to really mitigate the risks and the boosts that it costs when you are stepping into your business. Right? Yep. She's going to take that edge off. She's going to help you walk through the tough times. She's the person that I'm going to call if I ever have to go into litigation, which I pray to God I never ever do. But if that happens, like, I'm going to have somebody on my team that I know and trust, and now you will too, that you can call on to say, hey, this is too much for me. How do I go into this situation and have a solid conversation? How do I go into this situation and have an awareness that will help me say what I need to say, do what I need to do, and navigate the nerves that come up? I think a lot of people don't start their businesses, Christine, because they're scared of these bumps specifically. So I love that you're starting the summit with us.
Exactly. And just to clarify for listeners, I am not an attorney. Okay.
No.
So just to clarify, this is about emotional support and strategic psychological support through the bumps, whether it's legal or a conflict. It started off teeny weeny, and then all of a sudden, because many people don't know how to deal with the teeny weeny, and then it grows into this huge thing. And it becomes overwhelming, and et cetera, because people are complicated at times.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this summit is really all about why we step into our purposes, right? Following the calling of our heart and having the courage to do that. So I want to know just a little bit about what inspired you to help others to have this confidence And I absolutely love this story. I know you could tell a couple of them. I've heard a few of them,
Yeah.
but like, pick one, pick the best
Okay.
one, and let me know.
So there's just very brief. Okay. For those who are sitting in corporate and are sitting there saying, I hate my job, but I got to make money. For me, I grew a consciousness and said, there's better ways of earning money, something that's more meaningful, going for it. But also for me, I needed to get out of my comfort zone and go. I visited Alaska, and then all of a sudden, getting out of my comfort zone into an environment where I went mountaineering. And everything that I was used to, I mean, yes, I paid a fee to get on the glacier and to go mountaineer with this group, but everything that I knew did not apply. I was like the Howells on Gilligan's Island. So it was really where on the seventh day of this trip, I was sitting in base camp all by myself. The rest of the group was climbing a second mountain, and I was sitting there waiting for a commuter plane to come get me. And when you're sitting there by yourself on a glacier, as though you're the only human alive in the world, you really don't know. You can have nobody to ask. Your phone doesn't work. And this is going back to the era of 2001, so this is before smartphones. And then it was as though God you know, had me in a space and said, Hey, Christine, knock, knock, knock. And I was sitting there, back then I was much more cockier. And I was like, Yeah, what? Okay. And it was showing me how I can solve these issues that I was complaining about. And to be clear, when I say solve, it came in a rise of my consciousness. And it was where I realized how I was making the issues of the stories, the narratives, the experiences much bigger and greater than they needed to be. And so it was like this aha of, okay, this is what I want to do because I can't be the only human in the world. And so there's many, many stories, but fast forward, of things, current things I can share with you that because how did this lead to, like legal? Okay. Because I really want to share that with listeners. Is that over, in my life, sometimes, when we have experiences, it's training for us what our next steps are. And I found myself being accused of things that were, the truths were somebody else's, false narrative of what I was being accused of. And so for me, what I found is that in these environments where it's intense, where all of a sudden you have a jury and you're on the spotlight and there's a judge, there's a jury, and there's lawyers. And even though you may have a legal team, but legal folks are not trained to deal with the nervous system or emotions or the psychology. And here I found myself in these environments where I'm, being questioned for a bunch of different things. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, wow, I have all this training, and what is my nervous system going through? And here's these, 12 people in a box going to be able to, decide, the fate of the outcome of this. So for me, what I realized is in my training was, well, I know how to communicate exceptionally well. I know how to teach people how to communicate. I know how to tell stories. And I am this expert in emotional intelligence. So this is my time. This is the perfect environment where, I mean, I like, if I fail at this, and I'm laughing about this because it was intense. And I can imagine, because most people fold and just say, okay, I fold, I'll just pay fines or, give in. And I was like, no, this is not true. I did not do these things. So I'm going to defend myself, because when you're in business for yourself, and this is something that's going to sound squirrely to a lot of folks, is that the more successful you get, there's always going to be somebody throwing something at you. Or how do you navigate through, um, somebody that's upset about something. It could be as simple as, just looking at things like going back in time, like everybody who's McDonald's is. I mean, the customer that grabbed the coffee and it was too hot, and all of a sudden, they're out millions of dollars because somebody handed somebody a cup of coffee that was too hot. And think about it in your own business. You hand somebody something, well, there's a piece of advice, or it's your service or something, and all of a sudden they feel that they got burned, and all of a sudden you're in the spotlight. And what do? How do you handle it? And that's the pieces that I just really want to, share with your listeners, because I think it's important.
Yeah, there are listeners. Like everybody on this summit invited. I want you guys to know. So if you were invited by Christine, then like thank you for being here. Welcome to the Your Own University community. And if you're invited by another one of our speakers, just welcome. We have a great lineup here. So I love this because I think that we don't give ourselves, as entrepreneurs, we don't give ourselves enough credit for the roller coaster of emotions it takes to set up a business.
Yes.
Right? It's not, especially if it's not a brick and mortar business where you're selling a product or a but when you're selling I was going to say selling your soul, but truly, that's what I'm doing. Everything in my heart and my soul is like, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to talk about. And more people said, you can't talk about that. You can't do that work. I was like, well, yes, I can, right? And this is my shift into teaching other people how to do that work, because now everyone's talking about SA. Yep. But when I started in 2010 in this arena, I was told don't talk about it, right? So it was this emotional, and I remember talking to you, gosh, it was probably like 10 years ago in one of our friends' kitchens, and you were like, well, that's emotional intelligence. That's what we're going into. So will you just explain a little bit so people can recognize within themselves what emotional intelligence is and why we need it in business?
Okay, absolutely. Thanks for the great question. Okay, first of all, I'm going to simplify this. Your emotions are invisible, okay? But yet they are the patterns that sit in your subconscious that you may not be aware of. So what it's about when you have something coming to consciousness, like say, for example, that you become more aware of, hey, I'm stressed. Now, the emotional intelligence is, what am I really stressed about?
Yeah.
It's not about, I'm stressed, so therefore you did something to me. It's more that, for example, that I'm stressed because I'm driving down the street and I left 10, 15 minutes late, and I'm really stressed because I'm going to be late. It really has nothing to do with the other drivers. So emotional intelligence is about having a relationship with your emotions, understanding thyself, and then being able to read the emotional information and connect with other people. So why is it important in business? Because unless you are a business that doesn't deal with any people, any humans, so if my business deals with humans, and most businesses deal with humans, most people do not care for dealing with scripts. So for example, if you're on a sales call, like with somebody, like say a discovery call, you don't want somebody automatically coming up to you and just saying, hey, this is what you need, without even understanding you.
Yeah.
Or there's sometimes maybe you do need it, but it's not the right timing, or it's not the right approach. So good emotional intelligence is about, so for example, my natural state can be extremely direct, but I also understand that with emotional intelligence, that directness may not be, most appealing to everyone. So for me, it's about, okay, I'm also very charismatically direct in my natural states. So I am also, when I recognize there's somebody that doesn't really feed off that style, I need to recognize that, well, they need a little bit more time to make decisions. They're a digester. That doesn't mean that they're automatically going to not interested just because it's not based on my timing. I've had lots of customers who have very different belief systems than me, that make decisions very differently than me. But they've made the best customers because I'm recognizing where they're at. I'm taking them, okay, I'm meeting you where you're at, and then I'm being able to help you grow to where you want to be. So emotional intelligence, for example, we all have things that go on in our businesses. Now, I can tell you something that frustrates me at times is when technology doesn't work properly. I mean, who doesn't want to pull out their hair? Yeah, okay.
Right.
So let's say, for example, it didn't happen, but getting on Zoom right now, I mean, there are glitches sometimes, and I've had sometimes I'm about to get on, being interviewed, and then all of a sudden Zoom does updates.
Right. No, it did it this morning. It was
Okay.
8:30 and it was like doing it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's why I'm early. It's all good.
So emotional intelligence is about being able to understand yourself and being intelligent with that emotion. And the simplest visual I can give folks is I'm a dog person. So if you're emotionally intelligent as a dog, I mean, think about going for a dog walk. If your dog is reacting, every time it sees another dog, well, your dog's not very emotionally intelligent, okay? Because your dog's reacting to everything. And if your dog is just as cool, calm, and collective, like la 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 la, okay, well, I'm not responding to everything. I'm maintaining my emotional states, my mood. And so it's not about, sometimes people think and say, where what gets into codependency. Well, I'm all sad. Why aren't you sad? Well, I don't have to be sad because you're sad. I don't have to be angry because you're angry. I can understand that you're angry and get that you are angry for a reason, but I don't have to digest your anger.
Yeah.
I can learn why you're angry. So if you're dealing with a customer or business or a coworker, or for those who may be part-time entrepreneurs and still are have a job, it may be, how do you deal with those situations? So for example, a lot of people get into craziness such as, did you hear how she talked to me? Did you hear what they said? Okay, well, you have a choice how you respond. You don't need to react. So emotional intelligence is about how you respond intelligently.
So I love that. I want to go back to the points that I think is really important, and something that definitely we're going to be talking about more today. But in business, this is something that this is something that for me personally was hard, because I thought, well, I'll build it and they will come, right?
Yep.
But in business, you do have to talk to people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what. There is a customer. You get to learn about sales. You get to learn about vulnerability in sales. You get to learn about rejection, right?
Yes.
And all of that is emotional intelligence. And you hit on it, and I was like, ooh, so what are some of the biggest pieces of advice that you can give to people coming in order to learn emotional intelligence when it comes to interacting with customers?
Some of the biggest,
or sales calls.
Yeah. Okay. So some of the biggest things that I can share with you all is, a lot of folks, say to me, stuff like, hey, is there a book I can read? Yeah, there's all kinds of books you can read, but I'm going to warn you about what I'm going to say here, is that if you just want to take a very slow approach, read a book, because your state of consciousness is only going to intake the amount of information based on where you're at, that you can take that in. Okay, so if you really want to learn more about emotional intelligence, I really, really encourage you to jump on a discovery call with myself. I have a no BS emotional, consult, that if you really want to learn more about you, because getting assessed, I'll tell you, a lot of people have come to me and say, well, I have really high emotional intelligence. And I'm like, okay. And then they say, okay, I want to be assessed. And then I show them their emotional patterns and they say, oh, no, I see why that is happening. Because it's not so much about what you know about yourself, or so everybody knows what they're not so hot at, or we know what we're really good at. It's really about what you're blind to, because as I said in the beginning, your emotions sit on the nervous system in the blind spots inside of you. So how do you learn more about it? Here's something else that you can really test yourself. Are you constantly getting triggered? Okay. So I always say, go hang out with your family and then see what happens. Okay. Are they triggering you? Are you getting triggered on social media? Things that trigger people. Get around people that have different belief systems than you, whether it's politics, whether it's, spiritual belief systems. See how you respond. Can you be respectful? Can you be around people that have different political belief systems than you? Or are you the ones like, no, you're wrong? Okay. So it's not, emotional intelligence is not about wronging people. So how do you learn about where you're at? If you're in that place where you're finding you're like, oh, okay, people are always aggravating me. Well, guess what? They're just a reflection of you. What is aggravating you about you? Which is a whole deeper conversation. But how do you know where you're at is listen to what you're experiencing with people. Are you that person, as I said, let's walk the dog? Are you the reactive dog, or are you the responding dog? Are you the dog that, here in Alaska, it's like, there's the moose. Are you the dog that's like, or are you the dog that's just like, la, 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 la. Okay, there's a moose, or there's another dog. So I would always encourage folks, get yourself assessed. And I'm not saying those free Facebook like assessments. Get yourself into something where you can start to discover where you're at. And also, if you go to my website, right on the website, there's a free gift that says why smart business owners make emotions their ally. So that's a freebie. If you want to go there to thebusinessmd.net, you can go there and get that free tool.
Beautiful. And if you guys are joining us through the summit link, then you have the list and the direct link to her website just right underneath her bio on the speaker page, where you can learn more about her, so you can get that test. When we know our emotional intelligence, when we have this sense of where we're at, what advantage does that give us when we're meeting people for sales calls, or we're meeting people? Because, I'll be honest, at the beginning of my career, I needed money more, and I knew how much I could help somebody, and I wanted them to do it now, right? And I do work privately with people with intense trauma, and we're working in the trauma. So that's a different story. I had to learn emotional intelligence around that. But there was a sense of like wanting to be right? Or wanting them to buy, like car salesmen get that rap, right?
Yep.
And like you, I found that, sometimes it's just not the right time. Sometimes I need to talk to people. Sometimes it's okay, like just saying, hey, like I'm here when you're ready. Because when I over encouraged people to work with me before they were ready, they just simply weren't ready. I mean, it didn't work as well. And they would literally have to pause and then come back. And luckily, I think 99% of them came back and like finished and had beautiful results because the system works. But it was because of me as a business owner saying, well, you need this.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So how can they skip that learning phase and disgruntled stuff and learn how to not have to be right?
Well, okay. Being right, first of all, is a clear indication that you're really in your ego and not in your operating from a higher consciousness. I'm not saying that, for example, for this conversation, I'm not saying that I never operate from my ego. That would be a big fat fib. I mean, because I'm human, okay? We all do it. And so part of it is recognizing, here's an analogy, is that whether you're single or married, okay, is if you're single out there, do you think like a guy or a woman that walks up to you and just says, "Hi, you're the one. Let's go get married." What would you do? You'd probably run. You'd be like, "Okay, you creep." And let's say, so you have to remember that good emotional intelligence in leading a conversation with people is about having, when you're in higher emotional intelligence, and let's talk about vibration, is that your vibration of your emotions are higher and there's a confidence. So it's not this desperate energy of like, I need you to sign right now. You don't need to sign right now. Okay. Because when you're desperate, that's the, hey, I'm right, you need this. And it's annoying, okay? And it's something that part of having a relationship with your emotions and starting with you is leading that sales call to be something along the lines of, okay, this is where we're at, okay? Asking good questions such as, what to your customer, what do you think our next steps are? Let them tell you and listen. Because, for example, for the women out there, is if you meet a guy and he automatically decides the next steps are you meet one time and you're, hey, I think that our next step is go home and let's jack it up. Let's, I mean, if you're that kind of woman, then maybe it works for you. But for most women, it would be like, are you kidding? You creep. I don't even know you. And so it's it's about understanding that relationships, you got to gain that trust with somebody and also understand the pain point of somebody. So we were talking, earlier about, litigation or being in court, or if you got this painful situation, you want that pain to disappear. So part of emotional intelligence is understanding, where is my prospect? What is their pain point? And am I truly the one who can help them? And a mature emotional maturity with emotional intelligence is being able to say, I'm not the right practitioner. I'm not the right coach. I'm not, this is, you need to see somebody else. So for example, because number one, I cannot give you legal advice. So there's times where clients of mine have gone messy things. I've said, okay, you do need an employment attorney, or you need this kind of attorney. Because I cannot, this is as far as I can go with this type of topic. Or I cannot go into small claims court with you. I could advise you certain things, but as far as your emotions and how to deal with people, but I do not give you legal advice. That's not my thing. You need this type of person. Or when it comes to, because I'm not a therapist, I know a lot about, and I understand a lot of stuff about how to, deal with emotions on, at the subconscious level. And I am trained in hypnotherapy and stuff like that. And there's a lot of things that I can, help in the arena, but people who come with really complex mental health issues, like say, for example, if somebody was schizophrenic, that may not.
That's
That,
that's a
okay.
different level. Yeah.
That's a different level. And so I bring that up because good emotional intelligence is about knowing thyself and being confident enough to realize that you are going to be able to help people, and instead of get out of that short-term gain. I understand we all got to earn a living, that sometimes really good owning a business and being a entrepreneur really takes, the emotional muscles to say, okay, well, this is not a right fit, and getting clear about who is your fit.
Yeah, for sure. So I absolutely love this conversation, and in my heart of hearts, what I'm hearing you say is know thyself.
Yeah.
And be able to look at your emotions from a internal, external perspective. Like, this is how I'm feeling and why.
Yes.
And no longer, I think a lot of people, they push through or they shame their emotions.
Yeah, I
So
guess
noticing where you're pushing through or where you're shaming, I shouldn't be feeling this, shooting all over yourself is what I call it. And and learning how to navigate that. So,
Yeah. So one thing I want to bring up, since you brought that up real
mhm,
quick, is because when you're an entrepreneur, you're juggling, okay? And so it's also juggling your emotions. So sometimes you are required to communicate to the people in your life, or like, let's say friends. It may sound like, hey, I want to do that activity with you, but being honest about where you're at, you may need rest. You
mhm,
may not be able to take any more in. You may need to say to people in your life, listen, I'd love to get together with you, but just not now, because this is what I need to do for me. And that's
yeah,
important for folks, because it's not just about pushing through and being like, I'm going to suck this up. Because for me, this is how I think, and just disclosing to people is I need to be responsible for those I serve. So I want to make sure that I'm in the best space for those I serve, which means that taking care of my emotions, getting enough rest, taking care of myself, and not being in that place where I'm listening haphazardly.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So before we move on to the question Q&A part of it, and I do have the chat pulled up here on, if you're listening over YouTube, so please say hi and let us know where you're listening from. If you are here on Zoom with us and you have questions, please write them in the chat. That's how we're
Yep.
going to do it. But we already mentioned the businessmd.net. Is it thebusinessmd.net?
Thebusinessmd.net. Yes.
Okay. So
Thebusinessmd.net.
Christine will be there. You can take the assessment. You can schedule time with her. One thing that I absolutely love about this is people don't know that they have support
Yep.
when it comes to these stressful situations. And a lot of people don't go into business because of fear and different levels of fear, but fear of being judged
Yep.
and fear of legal stuff and
Yep.
fear of the emotions and the triggers that come up when doing that. So emotional intelligence and learning how to face different conversations and have different conversations and confidently go into big meetings. It could be corporate, it could be legal, it could be a partnership
Yep.
opportunity with somebody. Learning how to do that it's good. It's good,
Yeah.
you guys. We can learn how to do these things. We don't have to know how to do everything, and that's why we have different coaches, different therapists, different teachers, different mentors that are ready to take our hands and teach us. And Christine is one that I definitely
Yeah.
just believe in. I believe in you.
Yeah, it's something like, for example, thank you. It's for example, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be a speaker somewhere here in Alaska, and I'm giving a talk on words that win. What do I say? And I bring that up in this arena because please do not feel that you're a failure if you don't know what to say. Because a lot of times, we think, well, I just need to go meet people. Well, yeah, you meet people that what do you say? And so that's part of the value is, I've had, a very quick story I'll leave you with. Not too long ago, I was out cross country skiing, and as I was getting back to my car, I noticed that there was a group of people tailgating in the parking lot. And I just said something to them, and it led into this conversation. And so the woman eventually said to me, after we were talking for about 45 minutes, she says, "You are such a great conversationalist." And she says, "What do you do for a living?" And so that I shared with her. But the point is that having that skill of emotional intelligence, it really builds relationships. And that woman, after cross country skiing, asked me for a consult. So the point is, folks, it's not just about, hey, I'm going to a networking event that's officially under business. You can meet people anywhere. And I've proved that. And it's something, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've met people in the woods. I mean, not that I'm, you never know what you're going to get
In
in a
Alaska, we're
conversation.
in the woods a lot.
No, we're in the woods.
So,
Yes,
us in
yes. But
Alaska.
anyways, is there any questions from your listeners?
Are there any questions, you guys? Are there any questions? am not. I definitely have a question. We'll see. I don't see anything yet,
Okay.
but we definitely have listeners listening. So I know that YouTube's a little bit behind, so
All right.
hopefully they will clock up. If you guys can pull up the chat and say hi, everybody listening over Zoom, if you have any questions, we'll dive into there. Now we have more listeners on YouTube, so yay, welcome. And I will figure out. Ooh, I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
Whew, thank you. That was good. So I'm not seeing any questions come up, but I had a question in my
Yeah.
heart, and that was, I'm if you put me on stage, I'm great. If you put me behind a camera, I'm wonderful. If you have me one-on-one, I'm good at conversations. Put me in a group where I have to mingle and there's too many options, or a networking group or anything like that, and I freeze, partly because over the years I've discovered that I'm quite the introvert. My natural state is quite the introvert. My mother is, I love you, she's listening, but she is an extrovert. Right? So I always thought that I needed to be like that. And then I think she was the one that finally was like, I think that you're this. She gave me this book, The Introverted Extrovert. And I was like, And I think she related to it too. But so I have that. Does this awareness, how does this help people that are more introverted in business?
Well, part of it, okay, to remember, let's define introverted extrovertedness. Is that introvertedness is where that's how you recharge your battery. And so if you do it internally or extrovertedly, you're recharging your battery based on, external factors. So part of with emotional intelligence is being aware of what you just said. And so, for example, if because I'm more of a lot of people think that I'm a blazing extrovert, but I'm really, as I get older, I'm far more of the introverted extrovert. And so part of, for me, is in those scenarios, part of emotional intelligence is about how to be assertive in your communication around people. So there's bigger environments. It could be something like, such as I have said to people in those environments, such as, wow, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed. Anybody else? I'm being vulnerable. I'm being real, because then it opens the conversation based on like where I'm at. And I'm sure other people can relate to it. Other scenarios is using that vulnerability of, you know what, I don't know what to say in this type of, because everybody's, talking on a level that I can't relate to. Anybody else there? Now, if people say no, well, then I know I'm in the wrong place. And that's okay. It's not, from my perspective, it's not about making sure every environment is adjusting to me, because part of emotional intelligence is discovering what is right for you and what's not.
Yeah.
And about what you need. Because, like, for example, sometimes, I've been in places where everybody else is having fun, but it's just not my kind of fun. So it may be where I'm tired or I'm stressed. Well, it doesn't mean what they're doing is wrong. I mean, we got to get out of this wrong, right type of things. It's more of, where am I at? It's just like, for example, just because everybody wants to go to some big event with 5,000 people, I may find that, like, unless I'm on the stage, I don't care. So it's like, I don't care. And so I'd rather be, personally me, I'd rather be in scenarios where I can relax. And so to other people, being around 5,000 people may be relaxing, but to me, it's not.
Yeah. It's definitely not for me. And when you said that, I was like, ooh, I had a ding, ding, ding. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm shy.
Yeah.
And I am. I'm shy.
See, and
I
it's,
have I've had some judgment wounds,
yeah.
and I'm okay with that. I'm aware of that. But when you say that extrovert introvert, I was like, yeah, because if I'm around 5 or 10 people that I can like be my goofy, whacked out, don't really pre-think what you're gonna do before you do it, like self, I'm great. Um, yeah, but when I'm around groups of people that I don't know, I'm like
Yeah.
a fish out of water. It's interesting.
And I'm just going to throw something else in the mix because it's also about the awareness of, tagging along what you just said about the shyness. It's also sitting there asking thyself, am I looking to get approval of these people? And
Yeah,
that's a really deep question. Now, I know most people that are unaware would be like, okay, you're crazy. Why am I going to, some big scenario to get approval? Well, look at social media, people posting what they post. And
yeah,
and I'm not saying that's wrong or right because I don't think that way, and I'm not suggesting people do, but it's just being aware where you're at. And if you want to get approval, then you have to understand, okay, own it and say, this is what I'm doing. And what
yeah,
are you getting out of it? So part of emotional intelligence is that awareness.
yeah.
As I said, a
I love
part,
that.
but it's more.
Yeah,
Uh,
I absolutely love that.
yeah, this has been
So
awesome.
it has been awesome. Thank you so much, so much. So if you do have questions and you're watching the replay, put the replays in there. Christine will be
In and
looking at
out.
it. I'll tag
Yeah.
her in them if we need that. I know I switched from Facebook to YouTube at the last minute. I take full responsibility for that, but I got about 7 letters, maybe 8 letters of people saying I'm not going on Facebook. And with everything happening politically, I'm like, I get it. I absolutely get it. So
That's
we'll
cool.
go
Yeah, well,
YouTube. It's actually in my mind. I'm like, wow, this actually makes it easier for me. It is my first time really going live on YouTube, but I'm excited.
yeah, well,
And but it will be there, and so reach out. We'll also go on YouTube, and underneath her talk, I'll put the link for her website, so you
perfect.
have that. You can get that easily. So anybody that listens to the replay, they will be up to the public for the next 72 hours, and then you can get lifetime access to it in our VIP. Those links are on at yourownuniversity.com, and yeah. Thank you
Great.
so much,
Well,
Christine, for
thank
being a
you.
part of this and inspiring it. Actually, I had been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and we were in a meeting, everybody. I just have to share the story. And she's like, well, we're moving towards, because we're doing an event here in Alaska. And, and, and I was putting it off and putting it off. And she's like, well, let's do this. But I was like, you know what? I'm already doing that, and I was halfway there. But you kicked it in the butt and gave me that last little inspiration to put together this summit and really start talking about this is important trainings and following your heart, and this other piece of my heart, which is helping people set up their
Yes.
businesses and change the world.
Yes. Well,
So
thank you for having me and look forward to answering any questions. Need to jump, but thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Bye
you're
bye.
welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. All right, everybody, I'm going to switch out. So we have a little bit of a break here. At the top of the hour, we have a great talk happening. I'm so excited. My next guest is another Christine Roman. She and I have been following each other and connected for probably 10 years as well, maybe even a little bit longer, I think since 14. And she's just had an incredible life, and she has really, her story is amazing. I'm not going to say anything. Her story is amazing. It's all about speaking. She is the expression queen. She just evolved into a new level of authenticity and femininity in her business that I'm so excited to hear about for my, just because I've been watching it. I'm so excited that you're watching it. You're going to absolutely love our next interview. So if you're on YouTube, I'm going to stop this YouTube live and just hop right back on with me. We'll be on YouTube live there again. So just stay on my page and I'll be right back. I'm just going to make it so you can watch each interview easily and streamlessly. And each person that you talk to, they can speak directly back to you, and it's not every interview. And other than that, we're on the roll. So I hope that you're enjoying this summit so far. Please join us for all or any of it, and I will talk to you in just a minute. Take on YouTube, take a pod.